Welcome everyone to the Championship Sunday of the East Coast Metal Roofing presents Welcome to the Jungle Tournament. This is the third day of the tournament, and we are back at Coggshall. If you guys remember, we covered the first round there, and we had some scorching rounds, and we're back here on a beautiful day with some players that you might recognize from round two, and also someone that is going to be new to the scene, which we're going to introduce in a minute. Here in the booth, I also have Andres Ripley. How are you doing? Awesome round, second round, -8.
Thanks, Raivis. Yeah, happy to be here.
Well done there, and you're going to be fighting off Justin Patenaude again one more time, Shane Wyatt one more time, who also shot pretty well, and I'm sure you felt the pressure as he was heating up in those woods moments at Meadowbrook. And here you are, -16 in the lead, 990 rated, sponsored by Disc Golf 978, Beast Disc Golf, and Team Tank. And then we got Justin Patenaude, who's a newcomer, but I love watching his game. He's got a different style of game, and he shot -14, -7 both rounds. Excellent shooting there. And then we got my homeboy, Shane Wyatt, Wyatt Works, who's back on the lead card for round 3, and always bringing a smile. And then rounding off the card, we got Reuben Hagan, who's 975 and also part of Team Tank. So you're going to be hearing Andres talk about what he's going to be throwing during this round. Tell us about hole 1 here, Andres.
Yeah, so hole 1, it's a great starting hole, about 243 feet, par 3. You really have to think about the elevation here, and I think it's a great starting hole because it feels like a must-get, but it's not always the easiest shot shape on the first one. So here I'm actually throwing a slightly beat-up zone, and just throw it a little too straight and really get a pretty rough kick to start. I'll be down on the left and have to scramble pretty hard from there.
That's really not the introduction you want to have round 3, hole 1, but knowing you're going to be able to get up and down because you have an unbelievable scramble game, and that's what you need here. And Justin Patenaude, he's going right off the tee. He's going to be throwing his Opto Pure. And he's in a good spot. It'll be interesting to see if he runs that one. Shane's going to be throwing his KC Rock here. He's going to be mostly throwing this disc almost on every hole. And he loves putting on a little bit of an angle and letting it glide. He's all about that glide.
Yeah, definitely one of the better rock throwers we have around here, and he's been leaning on it for a while now.
He's in a good spot too. He's going to be more pin high, so it's going to be a little less death putty than what Justin's going to have to bring to the table. Let's see what Reuben's throwing here.
Yeah, he's leaning on one of his zones. He loves to throw these on these kind of left to right shot shapes here, and he throws it pretty well.
Yeah, that looked absolutely perfect. Let's get a catch cam angle. Oh no, I didn't realize that. Yeah,
we thought he was definitely closer when we saw the drive, and when we got up there, we were surprised to see him kind of farther down the hill. But that's what makes this hole so difficult sometimes. You can really put it close and right into the circle, but if you catch a root or you land on a certain angle, it's easy to roll down the hill a bit.
And Reuben throws pretty hard. Let's admit that.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, here again, I'm kind of on the hillside, and I had a nice window and was able to execute, and that stump definitely saved me probably from rolling down a little bit farther, but glad to scramble
unbelievable
to the basket.
Yeah, that was a really good scramble, and you put it on the right angle there. I mean, had you put it on any other angle, it could have easily rolled down, so that was kudos to you there. Justin's going to lay up. Maybe he was going for it, but that's a very timid putt to have to run on the first hole. I mean, even on Championship Sunday, you don't really want to suffer a bogey right away like that. And here's Shane, known for putting, a really good putter, and he actually putted really well at Meadowbrook. Check out that coverage, round 2. It's on our channel. We put it up already. And shout out again to our sponsors, title sponsor, East Coast Metal Roofing, platinum sponsor, Discmania, as well as Disc Golf 978, and our silver sponsors. Tell us about hole 2 here, Andres.
Yeah, another good hole here. Hole 2, 208 feet, slightly, moving from left to right. It's going to be be thinking about here is the OB on the left. That path down there is out of bounds if you get that way, but you really just want to miss one of these first two guardian trees, have it finish a little bit right, and then hit your birdie putt.
What are you going to be throwing off the tee here?
I'm leaning on my other zone on this one, and just kept it 2 inside, and hit the tree you want to miss, but luckily I stay in bounds there. But I do remember there being a pretty strong tailwind on this hole, so I'm excited to see kind of how the other players react to that.
Yeah, a little bit of a techie hole, and the first 2 holes they're averaging right around 3, so it's not an automatic birdie by any means, and we only had about 16 or 18 birdies, depending on which hole you're talking about, on a 60-person pro field. So this is very difficult first 2 holes, even though they're under 300 feet, and this one's only 208.
Exactly. Yeah, and so far Justin and Shane as well kind of leaked it inside. Shane did get through there a little bit. He should have an interesting putt. Right around circle's edge.
So I'm assuming this is going to be a zone for Reuben, and his form looks very similar to somebody else on Team Tank. Did he get a lot of tips from that Dylan Capiccioli guy?
We've definitely played a lot together. And Reuben actually came from an ultimate background, so you'll definitely see that when he starts to lean more on his backhand, but definitely has a great forehand as well.
Very powerful forehand, and it's great to see him on the lead card because I know he's been doing a lot of work out there.
Definitely. So I, again, had a pretty good kick off that tree, just a straight look with my NV, put it right under the basket.
Now, would you agree that the first half of the course is pretty difficult compared to the back 9, or are you? What's your thoughts on this?
I completely agree with you on that. I think hole 1 and 2, again, they're good holes to start the round off on because you do want to try to get them. They're definitely birdieable, but they're not gimmies. And soon we're all going to see really the gauntlet of the course. 3 through 6 and 7 is a really difficult stretch. So see how the players react to that.
Oh my gosh. Well, he could have got a little bit of a worse roll, so that's not bad. Again, like we said, 18 birdies, 2.97 average. And Shane with a great comeback. This is a hanging basket. This could get treacherous very quickly here.
Yeah, and like you said, a great comeback putt there from Shane. Those pines are really small where he had his birdie look from, and he had to try to just work around them, but again was able to scramble for the par.
And we're going to get a lot more reaction cam on this round. We really hope you liked it from the second round coverage. We got Paul Morrison on reaction cam, and he's going to get up close and personal on some of these tap outs.
No,
it's a different perspective. Yeah,
definitely. I remember it was cool to have him there, and that reaction cam, I think, is something that people really enjoyed seeing in coverage.
Awesome. Great to hear.
Yeah. So stepping into hole 3 here, a really great hole, par 3, 369 feet. Kind of makes this S turn moving right to left, and you want to have it fade a little bit right at the end if you can. Definitely a tricky hole with the out of bounds road again on the right hand side, so see what our players throw here.
This is such a long par 3 and 369 feet. Let's see what you're doing here. You have a nice height on that. You're ripping it.
Yeah, I actually was throwing my slightly beat up Halo Valkyrie there. Just turned it a little bit and hit one of the trees you have to miss, but got pretty far down.
It doesn't shape for a lefty, but it's also not bad.
Yeah, I think the righty backhand, if you can get it down there, it's a really pretty flight. You have to slowly flip it up like that, and Justin executed it pretty well.
Yeah, that was his plasma volt. I mean, he got down there fast. He throws harder than it looks. I don't know what it is. And Shane's going to be throwing his, I believe that's a sidewinder, just pulling it left, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind hyzering out to the left. Obviously, with the OB right, you really want to try to avoid that at all costs. And Reuben's going to go for it. I mean, knowing him, he's trying to pull that Dylan Cap sidearm here.
Yeah, he really gets us moving right to left. He's leaning on a Halo Destroyer there and gets it to pin high.
Wow, that was beautiful. And let's see if he gets a putt there. Really interested. You get to see that special magic once in a while, and here's that form capture, and here it comes. Wow, Wow,
Yeah,
that went past it. Holy
it's a great
cow.
shot.
I never see that. He made that hole look like 320.
Yeah, and that's Reuben's specialty. He does have a great backhand, but when he can lean on that forehand, he can really execute well. So great shot out of him.
And he has a very technical approach for Shane Wyatt. Does a really good job. Left it a little short to the right, but he should be able to knock down that for his par.
And I had a pretty easy lefty forehand hyzer window there, just leaning on my zone and got it up in the circle.
You really like your zone, I can tell.
Yeah, zones are definitely my go-to. I have that orange one that you'll see me throw throughout the round. It's been in my bag for a little over 4 years now. And great run by Justin there.
Yeah, it really was. He was definitely going for it. It's not moving day. It's championship Sunday here, folks. I mean, every putt you got to make. And let's not also, I would be a little amiss if I didn't also talk about Dylan Sepala, because he has been in there. He's on the chase card, and he's also on a hot start. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. Oh, my goodness. Speaking of an eye, Reuben with the 2 on 3.
Yeah, that was a great putt. You might have seen actually he was using a rangefinder to see if he was inside or outside because it was so close. He does love to jump putt when he can, but that's a great stick by Reuben there.
Hey, man, when you can do it and it's going to work to your advantage and get the birdie, you got to go for it. Oh, Justin leaving a little short there. Yeah, the radar on hole 3, that made me chuckle, I got to admit. And here you are for your par putt. Any nerves at this moment, or just kind of, you've been feeling it very well?
Yeah, I mean, my putt's been feeling good all weekend. That one actually was a little low and right, but for the most part, feeling pretty confident. I'm stepping up to putts right now.
Mm-hmm. You can see the hole stats there. 3 birdies. We saw one of them, which is amazing. And then shout out to Stevie Frisch and Dylan Sepala. Again, that guy has a cannon. Mm-hmm. So he's off to a really good start. Watch out for him. And then here's hole 4. Hate it or love it, Andres?
I personally, I'm somewhere in the middle. I think it's a good hole. It's a very unique hole, but it's tougher for me because I really want to throw a lefty forehand. I don't want to look away from the gap. It says 261, but probably plays closer to 350, I would imagine. And again, you can go right side or this left side that we're going to see Reuben try to execute.
Yeah, it's a good hole. I think it's a good 4th hole because you're not going to have to go too big, but you can go big if you have that arm. Reuben going to the left side, that's going to be a very difficult save for him. This hole averaged 3.19, so, from a 3.37 to a 3.19, this is a difficult stretch, guys.
Yeah, definitely. I also didn't really get behind my forehand. It kind of leaked out early on me, but glad to miss the trees and get within about 80 of the basket.
You almost aced the other basket.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad spot. It's actually, there's a clearing up there a little bit, and you got probably a forehand out there too. And Justin Patenaude showing off his power here with the Star Destroyer, getting a good pull. He's probably only about 100 feet short to the right. And here is Shane's Sidewinder again, and a great pull by him.
Definitely a great rip. He's, again, leaning a lot on rocks and sidewinders on this course. He's a woods golfer, so it's going to be cool to see what he throws throughout the round.
He's a woods golfer, but he also played very well at Meadowbrook. Definitely check out that coverage. And a little bit of a peace sign from you, Andres, right there. And let's see if Reuben can save his par from back here.
Yeah, that's an awesome scramble by Reuben. Again, when he can throw his own forehand, he's really going to get up and down more often than not. So great shot there by Reuben.
That was a lot further than the camera made it look, too. That was amazing. Shane leaving it a little short, but he's up there for the easy par. That's all you really need on this hole. It's 260, but it literally plays like 350, maybe more, 380, 400.
Yeah.
All right, Justin Patenaude, let's see what you got here. Now, he comes from an ultimate background, I heard, right?
Yeah, I believe so. This was actually my first weekend playing with Justin as we played round 2 and round 3 together. Mm-hmm. A really good guy, again, a lot of talent, and excited to see kind of what he can bring throughout the years moving forward.
He came out crushing this season. I think he was also in the top, he did very well at the Tourney 54, and he's just been on the scene this year, and he's been in the podium finishes left and right.
Yeah, I actually think the weekend before this, I don't remember the name of the tournament, but it was at Muldoon. It was a B tier that he took down after battling another tanker, Dave Mahoney. So yeah, he's got the winning experience. He's got some talent, and it's cool to see him on coverage.
Love it. Hole 5, one of the more difficult holes. Again, averaging 3.51. Andres, what are your thoughts on this one?
This is a really challenging hole. Again, we just kind of got off 3 and 4, and then we come into another really tricky hole. It plays a little bit more than 360. You got a lot of trees you have to miss. Not a lot of twos on this, so I think a lot of people are probably trying to lay up, get half to 2/3 of the hole covered on the first shot, and then try to pitch it under the basket.
Yeah, unless you have a cannon, this is almost impossible to reach. We actually saw Dylan Capiccioli get there and roll on the first round coverage. Check that out if you haven't. And you, just like you said, nice and smooth, right down the middle, nothing too flashy, and you're in a great spot. What was that?
Yeah, very happy with that shot. I was just throwing my my beat up T-Bird 3 there, trying to get again around 2/3 of the hole, taken out on that first throw, and happy to be in the middle.
Awesome. Well executed there. And this is the mistake we see often where players just move it a little too right, a little too fast. And you can't do it on this hole because the woods are so hard to scramble from, and you still have a lot to go. Shane's going to be pulling his rock, I believe. He's just kind of laying up. He's not going for the big shot. And that's pretty well done, too.
This is definitely the spot you don't want to be in. As you mentioned, early right can be really challenging sometimes. If you're going to miss, you want to be off to the left so you can have a better scramble. But Justin really able to execute there, get the skip, and get it to sit there.
The infamous roll on hole 5. Everybody gets it. Let's see if Shane gets lucky and stays. Oh, he did sit. That was good. It's so hard to stick this landing.
It really is, and I think Shane and Reuben try to do the same thing there. If you miss high of the basket, it will either sit or it will slowly trickle down. You can get a better shot closer by. So great approaches by them.
Actually, that's a very smart play.
Yeah, and I'm just jump putting up there with my Luna again, trying to land it, with the hillside and keep it close. So happy that worked out.
Something that I noticed within the last 2 rounds is that you have a little more explosiveness than usual. Are you doing anything different? Do you feel any more power, or is it just me?
I mean, honestly, I am feeling like a little bit more power, but it's interesting because I don't feel like I changed too much with my form. If anything, I'm trying to slow myself down a lot and hit the key points on the release. And so things are feeling good. I don't feel like I'm putting too much stress on my body. I've battled some injuries over the past couple of years with my elbow, but things are feeling really good right now. So happy to see it translate out on the course.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed it. I think it was hole 2 at Meadowbrook, and I was like, wow, Andres pinned it like on a low flying shot, and you could have easily got even more distance. And I feel like you were nice and slow off the form, and something just kind of clicked, like you said. So hole 6, this is where you need a little bit more power as well, as you're going to be going uphill, 312 feet. What are your thoughts on this one?
Again, another difficult hole, but I think it's a good hole here. You really need to get across the gully. If you land down at the bottom there, it can be a really tough scramble. So, just miss kind of that main tree in the middle and see if you can get up close for a putt. This hole is actually, in my opinion, kind of Reuben's bread and butter. He unfortunately turned it over a little bit, but he has a really good forehand, and I think it matches the grade of the green really well, and you can usually get a birdie look on it.
If I had an explosive forehand, I definitely would throw it here. What are you going to be throwing here?
I'm actually leaning to my Halo Valkyrie there. Disking down a bit, just trying to match the angle and have it push straight. A little bit low out of my hand, but was able to just get to the top there, so I can see the basket on the approach.
I think Shane's going to be throwing his Casey Rock here.
I actually think, if I remember right, I think he was actually leaning on his Star Wraith there.
Okay.
It's the same color as the rock, but I think he was actually trying to go for it, and he did get some nice ground play there. He should have a longer look for 2.
And I was going to say, there's no way a rock is going to be going that much distance. especially the way that he throws. No offense, Shane, I love you. But Nick Ecos, now that I could believe. And speaking of which, he got the deuce on the previous hole. We have to shout that out on hole 5. All right. Well, Justin Patenaude is going to have a lot of work to do here. Coming from his ultimate background, let's see what he can do. Oh, I love this catch cam angle by Dan Snyder. That was a really good shot.
Yeah, that's a rip. And again, the camera doesn't really do the slope justice. Like, it's a really far shot for Justin. He executed that pretty well at the circle's edge. And Reuben here can't even see the basket. So he kind of went back and forth, I remember, between a forehand and a backhand. Decided to go backhand here.
And mind you, Reuben's like 6'5", so if he can't see it, then none of us can. That was a great approach for him. And Andres, can you see the basket?
Yeah, I got a pretty great landing spot here.
I love that. Yeah, I love the tenacity. Why not? You have a little bit of a backstop, a little bit of aggressiveness there. Were you trying to throw it in? Let's be honest.
I was giving it like a half run, you know, like you mentioned, there is a little bit of a back slope there, so not too much risk.
Shane, oh, come on. He's going to get one of those this round. I promise, folks. That was a good bid. And here's Reuben for his, I believe, his par save.
Yep. Just leaked it a little bit. Reuben's actually been coming a long way recently on his putt. He's really trying to get some more spin on it. Unfortunately, just leaked that one a little bit.
All right, so you're at 16 down at this moment. You just got a par. You have one more really tough hole. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good right now. You know, my goal is to really stay, you know, if I can be around par, maybe 1 or 2 under if possible through the first 7 holes. But I think there was a lot less pressure because the people on my card really weren't shooting too hot. You know, there's a couple birdies here and there, but a lot of bogeys mixed in. So I'm not really checking scores, but I know that I have a few strokes to play with on my card. But I do also know that there are some really talented people on the Chace card. So I'm keeping that as mine as well as we move through the round.
Yeah, so we have Dylan Cap and Nathan Delisle and Dylan Seppala. They're all shooting about 3 down at this moment. So you might be looking at them, if anything, in terms of scores. So hole 7, one of the more difficult holes, averaging 4.21. I love this longer change. How about you, Andres?
Yeah, I do as well. I think this is a great change to the course. Really, you know, lengthens it by another 70 or 80 feet. But it makes that tee shot really more daunting, and you really, if you can, want to execute something that just pushes pretty straight for the most part. And players can really throw almost anything they want, you know, putter, mid, driver, off this tee.
Absolutely, dealer's choice, and I love any hole that allows you to do that. What are you going to be throwing here?
I was throwing one of my rocks, and again, just held on to it for a little too long. Got a kick to the right. Not the best place to be.
I love that you went with a rock because you could have easily gone with a fairway, but like you said, you just want to be in the middle. I mean, a par is really good on this hole, no matter what way you put it. So
for sure, I think Reuben's actually going for it here. He's again going to that Star Destroyer. A little too inside and gets a really rough kick there, but still on the hill. He might be able to scramble from there.
Definitely love it. And here's Neutron Echo by Justin Patenaude. He got up there, I think. Wow, he's in the middle too.
He funneled, I remember we were laughing because he funneled through the right side. There's a lot of trees there, but there's still a lot of airspace. So he worked his way up, and yeah, he's right in the middle.
Yeah, Bob, if you want to cut a few down onto the right side, by all means, feel free. It would make it even that much better. But no, honestly, with the changes that were made, they all averaged really well. They evened each other out. You know, this was above par. The couple of them were below par. I mean, just a little bit below par. So, I mean, like the new changes really just are very well done.
Agreed.
All right, here's Shane on his second shot. Let's see how he's able to pull this one off. Back door. There is sometimes an alley over there. I think he's going to have a birdie look, potentially, yeah.
Yeah, he got right to circle's edge. Again, you really can use that left side of the fairway. And I'm in a tricky spot here after pitching out, so I really want to scramble and see if I can save par. there was this nice opening down the left side, and I executed it pretty well.
Yeah, that is so much better than a. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Hit a putt.
Let's hit a putt. Let's go.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped about that. You know, I'm even par right now.
I was
trying to
just gonna
stay-
say that. I don't think you've birdied or bogeyed anything at this moment, right?
No, I haven't yet, and I know that was definitely an important point of the round right there, where I knew, I wanted to get up and down. It wasn't the easiest gap to hit, but I executed it well, and we're in the circle. So.
But you haven't feel the need to feel threatened, because like you said, this card, like you see the scores, they're not on your tail that much. So par is fine, especially at Cogs, knowing that the back nine you're probably going to heat up a little more too.
Exactly.
And here's Shane for his birdie.
Oh my God. You got it, Reuben.
Hole 7 can get you 531 feet. And this is the last one in the gauntlet. You mentioned that keyword earlier, the gauntlet. And is there any number that you were looking to be through that gauntlet? I mean, is even par acceptable, fine with you?
Yeah, I mean, again, I really want to try to birdie either 1 or 2 if I can. But being around even right now, no shame in that. We've got most of the difficult holes out of the way.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped about that, again, especially since there were some other putting woes on the card there. Glad I could save the par and move on to the next one.
A rare miss for Justin. He's been a really solid putter within the Circle 1. And no one's mentioned the fact that he sometimes putts, Shane, sometimes he putts with his hand in the pocket. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I noticed that right away in round 2, and I actually waited till the end of the day to ask him about it. But it stems from his winter putting practice, he said. When it's cold out and he's getting the reps in, he's had his hand in that pocket, and he just got used to that feeling, and it feels comfortable to him. So you don't see it a lot, but again, whatever works, you should be sticking with it. So he's definitely a good putter.
Well, thank you for that background, because I was wondering where it came from. I had to think it had to be a comfort thing, and it sounds like it is, but it's more of a winter comfort thing.
Yeah.
So move down to the south, join the warmer weather if you need it. And here is hole 8, an absolute must get, 198 feet, a little left to right. What are your thoughts here after getting that putt in?
Yeah, I mean, you said it right. It's a must get. We get through some of the hardest holes right before us, and then you can see the basket here slightly downhill. It feels like a must get.
And one thing that I think I would like to see maybe with this hole for the future is maybe make it like an island and to make everything around it a hazard or something, just to make it a little bit more difficult, because I just think it's a little too short.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But that's just my own theory and thoughts for an 8 tier. And let's see what Justin thinks about this hole, because I think he almost aces it here. I hope we get a catch cam, yeah. Oh, we get a reaction cam too. Awesome. Oh, double.
Yeah, he threw the perfect line there, right off of root, and just hits the cage. Maybe a foot higher, and that's right in the heart of the chains.
Oh my goodness. Well, we've seen people ace this one, and it's a good one to get, especially after the gauntlet and the tough holes that you just had to play. This hole was the easiest hole on the course. As you probably imagine that, it was 2.39, and we had, count how many birdies you think we had on this, Andres?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say we had 35 birdies.
Close, 48.
Oh my God.
48 birdies, and let's see if you can get one. You're in a tough spot, buddy.
Let's go!
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Did you see something?
No.
Yeah, so I basically had the worst drive you can have on this hole, minus hitting a tree. My zone just slipped out of my hand. I was kind of over to the left, but I had this hyzer look through the bushes. Great angle of it right here.
Let's go!
Yeah,
That was a great angle.
It felt like a momentum boost for me there. I've been pretty stagnant the whole round, just getting the pars, but again, a must-get hole, as you pointed out, and it felt great I really had to work for it, but again, it felt great to get the birdie in the end.
And you ran through a jungle to go back to your bag, it looked like. That was amazing reaction catch cam work there by the team there. And awesome birdie, Andres. That's a huge momentum swing for you, I hope, because that's a big putt. That's a, oh, and I apologize. It's 43 birdies, so you were even closer. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, it's still one that you really do want to get, and I know that, again, I am at even par, but I know that there's a good chance that someone on the chase card or most people on the chase card can be shooting well under par at this point. So I really wanted to make sure I got this one. Glad I did, and moving on to hole 9.
Yeah, Dylan Seppala is 5 down at this moment, so watch out for him. And here's hole 9, 324 feet, a very difficult, tough downhill shot. What do you think, Andres?
Yeah, I love this hole. I think there's a couple ways you can attack it, whether it's a lefty backhand or a righty backhand. A lot of trees you do have to miss, so for me, I'm leaning on my beat-up zone here, just trying to throw it flat and have it follow the cart path for as long as possible before finishing to the right.
It just kind of shapes up really nice for a lefty in terms of trying to finish left with a hyzer. Whoa, you almost aced that. What a great rip there. And you're going to have about a 28, 30-foot comebacker. Let's see if you can knock that down to get into your final 9 holes.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the result. I think the key on this is that it's, again, really downhill, hard to tell on the camera. So if you can have a putt looking back up the hill, it feels a little less daunting than if you're short of the basket.
I totally agree with you there. And Justin threw his zone there. This is not a zone by Reuben. Do you know what he's throwing here?
Yeah, this is one of his envies. He loves to backhand envies. Unfortunately, just leaked it a little bit and hit one of the trees, but he usually executes this hole pretty well with his envy, he said.
Yeah, that was a nice looking touch shot for him. I like to see that power down with some touch. That's an excellent sign of maturity and, and has a lot of variety in his game. Shane also getting nice pull, but getting a lot of action down that hill. That's going to be a little further than yours. Let's see if he can knock it down.
Yeah, and he's been leaning on that envy all weekend. It's the disc in his bag right now where he can just flip up and have it just ride straight, so.
Envy seems to be a good disc for him. I know that he's been looking for a disc like that, so it sounds like he finally found it. All right, so here's Shane for his birdie. Doesn't get it. Kept it a little low. He's not putting like he did. Oh, but somebody is putting like he was in the second round. Great hit there.
Yeah,
your
very,
putts are
very
dialed.
Happy with that.
Yeah, your putts are dialed. So let's take a look at the averages here. 2.97 and 17 birdies for this 324-foot downhill hole. Pretty fair.
Yeah, I would think so. Again, it's a good hole. You want to get it. It doesn't feel like a must get, and I think 2 of us on the card got the birdies. So.
Absolutely. Andres, you are 2 down at 18 down. Justin's -1 at 13 down. Shane Wyatt's 2 over at -10. And Reuben Hagan not far off you and Justin at even -12. So what a hit by you on 8 there. That was amazing. And we really hope you enjoy this front 9 coverage. Any thoughts before we leave these viewers, Andres?
No, we're through the hardest part of the course now, in my opinion. Hopefully the rest of us can shred, and the back 9 will be interesting, so stay tuned.
I'm really excited to see it, and thank you everyone for staying around and watching the coverage so far. We've been really loving working with East Coast Metal Roofing, Discmania, Disc Golf 978, Amplified Insurance, Meadowbrook Orchards, the Lazy Frog, and of course, Greatest Media Team helping you provide this coverage. So we hope you enjoy. Stay tuned to the back 9.